Welcome back to AM Northwest. Most parents want to maximize the inheritance their children will receive, but haven't actually spent much time planning out the whole process. Here with help, we welcome back from Swanson Financial, David Swanson. David, good to see you. Yeah. How much wealth is there out there when it comes to this kind of thing?
Well, there's trillions of dollars that are set to transfer from people in the baby boomer age to the Gen X and the millennium children. And this is the largest. The baby boomers have garnered more wealth than any other generation in the history of the United States, and that wealth is about to pass.
And you say there's some problems that a lot of people are facing.
There really are a lot of issues. How best to transfer that wealth and how best to receive that wealth are big problems that people are facing. One major problem that people have in transferring assets is they don't really plan for it. They don't anticipate what they need to do to make sure that the assets get to their loved ones. And as a result of that, they can incur a lot of income tax that's unnecessary.
So what about just, usually it seems to me that if a person passes, let's say it's just one person, and it automatically goes to their children, their adult children. But that's not the case. You have to make it clear.
Well, the assets will eventually get to the loved one. It just depends on how much of those assets transfer.
Okay.
So if your intent is to maximize your gift, to give as most to the people that you care about, that you've worked your whole life for, then you need to do some pre-planning. And that's where it comes into effect of setting up a will or a trust. And that's where most people have some kind of confusion. And so we try to instruct people to get with their legal counsel and make sure that if they're appropriate, if a trust is appropriate for them, that they use that. And what a trust will do is help them avoid probate, which a will not. And what probate is just simply the legal transfer of assets from one name to another, which can incur a lot of expense and a lot of issues for the people receiving the asset.
Let's say you set up a trust. You keep having to fund that trust?
Well, there is a major problem that people have is they set up trusts and then they don't fund them. So unless the assets are transferred into the trust, where you've moved your properties and your bank accounts and your vehicles into the trust has no effect over those assets unless you've made some other provisions to get it in there after your passing.
Are there estate taxes that people are concerned about?
There are estate taxes, although the minimums have been raised to past $5 million for the federal side. But in Oregon, if you have more than $1 million, you're going to pay a transfer tax from assets from one generation to the next.
What about gifting? I've heard of gifting.
Gifting is great, and what we try to do
What does that mean exactly?
So gifting is transferring some assets. You either transfer your assets at passing or sometime before your passing. And if you transfer assets before you pass, which is giving some of your estate away to your children during your life, you can, in theory, avoid income taxes on all of those or transfer taxes on all of those assets when you pass. So what we try to do is set up programs that would, in the right situation, to help people move assets from their accounts to their children's accounts during their lifetime.
Okay, speaking of children, you brought your child with you, as you do every time.
Yes, I do. My
He's
favorite
here,
child.
your baby.
Yes.
Lovely. Okay, we're going to be right back with more questions for David and Swanson Financial. Don't go away. Welcome back to AM Northwest. We're back with David Swanson, who has advice for planning how your kids will receive their inheritance. Now, we have some questions from viewers in our audience. Yes. So let's start with one.
Okay.
My first question is, I'm a divorced single female, age 72, with one financially secure child who I want to give all my assets to when I pass. I have a number of retirement accounts and have been advised to name my estate as the beneficiary. Is this wise?
This could be a big problem. So if you name your estate the recipient of, say, your retirement accounts, those become all taxable immediately, your IRAs. What we typically try to do is establish what's called an inherited IRA, where those assets are transferred to the child, and then the taxes are paid slowly over the lifetime of the child, and those assets can be transferred then as well. So the idea is if you make a mistake, you could incur a huge tax consequence right at the beginning, and your child gets the asset, they just get a whole lot less of it.
Gotcha. The second question, we set up a trust some 10 years years ago in another state and never funded it. You discussed funding. Since then, we have acquired many new assets. We're unsure if the trust will help. Can you offer any advice?
Great idea to find a local attorney if you're going to be living in this state, to have your trust redrafted in the state that you're in. You'll have local contacts. It's a great idea. Second thing is, if you don't fund the trust, it doesn't have any effect. So make sure that you find somebody to help you get those assets transferred into the trust.
Transferring wealth to our grandchildren for college is very important to us. How best might we accomplish this transfer?
Well, now we get back to gifting. Maybe it's a good idea to start transferring some of your assets during your lifetime to your children, but how do you do that? Insurance companies offer certain types of contracts that will allow you to put money into a contract, tax exempt, and also will allow in most situations, the ability to withdraw the money without any income taxes either. So it's a great opportunity for college funding or retirement. But the issue is that the parents have to start the gifting program early and be consistent with it throughout their life.
Touch on registering accounts jointly versus payable on death.
So a big mistake that we see is that the mom will be alive and her daughter, child will be alive, and they go down to the bank and they open up a joint account. Oh, I want my daughter to be on the account so she can get the money out. Well, first of all, you've made a gift of half of that. And also your daughter then can access your account value. Maybe you want that, maybe you don't. But the banks have a little secret that most people don't know about, which is called a payable on death account. And that account states that when you open up the account, you keep it in your name, and you have them sign a form that says, when I pass, these assets transfer right to my child. Now, we don't need the trust. We don't need anything. That bank account will go right to the child at your passing, which is, if that's what you intend, that will work out very well.
Interesting. We want to make a substantial gift to our church, but are concerned we might need the money later. Do you have any suggestions?
Gifting is very important. I believe that to make a gift during your lifetime and see your church or your charitable organization enjoy that during your life is a great benefit to you. The problem is if you give it away and you need it back, you can't get it.
Right.
So there's certain types of trusts that can be established that will actually make the gift to the church, but then they will pay you an income stream back, and that might be something that could work in this situation.
Okay, you have lots of great advice. You also have seminars that are available. We're going to put all that information on our website at k2.com. The number is 503-603-9900, Swanson Financial. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Good to see you again.